Okay, hello there. I'm Mike Barra, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try to record me playing a computer game that I really love. It's called Panzer 2. It's very reminiscent of the old Avalon Hill board games I used to play as a kid when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s. And it's really super cool automation of that turn-based system. You go, the other guy goes, and it's all based on Germany's attempt to conquer the world. So what I'm going to do is record as many of these sessions as I can, add them as content like Mike 3 and Mike 3, just to sort of put some more stuff out there, have some fun, and see what you guys have to say about me. Now, I'm going to tell you what right away, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I don't like to lose, but it's going to be fun. It helps. I like these games because they help me with my strategic thinking. And even though life is not turn-based, it's going to be some interesting stuff. So today we're going to record me playing the game. We're going to start from scratch. We're going to play a new game. Hopefully you can see the splash screen here from Panzer 2. I've got the field marshal edition. We're going to go with a new game, and we're going to go and play a campaign. Okay, so campaign means I start in 1939 in Poland, and I go from there. I'll play Poland first. I could do the Spanish Civil War. I've got all kinds of other Axis operations and things I can do and scenarios. We're going to start with Poland, 1939. I've got my advanced options here. What I'm going to do is going to set the difficulty to Generalismus. That's the highest difficulty, which I don't think really makes the AI smarter. It just gives them a lot more enemies for me to fight. And when I go to advanced options, I'm going to do a few things. There is a lot of randomness. Undo mode. I'm going to go undo mode. I'm going to go unlimited because sometimes I want to rethink things and do them. And commander trait points are, I'm going to go with action 4. We'll find out what that is in a minute. And I always get new heroes, so we're just going to hit play and we're going to start the scenario. Now, once I do that, I have 2 options to choose from. It says, as a newly minted general in the German Wehrmacht, it falls upon you, that's me, spearhead the German invasion of Poland and prove your mettle in combat. Always choose your avenue of assault wisely, as future decisions will dramatically impact your campaign and even course of the war. So I have 2 campaign trees here that I can choose. I can either go with Poland South or Poland North. Now, the strategic warning is there's more close quarters combat and sieges in the southern route, and there's more mobile and open ground warfare in the northern route. Well, I want to be known as a Panzer. I want to be known as a Blitzkrieg general. So I'm going to start. We're going to play both of them eventually on different videos. We're going to start with Poland North, which is basically where I'm going to try to cut across to unify East Prussia and the Fatherland are going to be united. This is going to be more open panzer warfare out in the open. So we're going to select that particular scenario. I'm going to hit select, and the next campaign tree is going to be another direction. So what it's going to do now is load that particular campaign scenario for me. I'll take a sip of Dr. Pepper. Getting ready to start my VAR. Get some options here. Now, I have various options. I can pick what I look like from some of these fine Aryan men. I like this guy. I'm going to be General Erwin von Butcherstein. Now, Erwin, I picked that name because he's an open tank commander after Erwin Rommel. And so we're going to go with him. Now, his twin brother, Fedor von Butcherstein, is going to run the North campaign, or South campaign, the campaign that's more grounded out fighting. And they're going to branch off. Eventually, Erwin is going to find himself probably in North Africa, and Fedor von Butcherstein, the other twin brother, is going to find himself slogging it out on the Eastern Front in Russia. So now I have a chance to pick up to 4 combat traits, and I'm going to pick the ones that I really, really like. Now, there's Infantry General, there's Panzer General. It tells you what these are. All infantry units cost 25% less slots. And Panzer General, all tank units cost 25% less slots. Slots are a thing you'll find out about in the game. The strength of a unit determines its slots, its number of slots that it takes up in terms of the slots you're allowed to use in a specific combat scenario. However, what I want to be known as is a master of blitzkrieg. That means all my tanks get +1 movement point and can cross minor rivers easier. That means without engineering bridge units. So I'm going to pick that. It's going to cost me 1 of my 4 trait points, and I'm going to go with master of blitzkrieg. Now, I have 3 selections remaining. I could randomize these. What I'm going to go with here is industry connections. That means I get 15 or 20 random prototypes in every mission or campaign, except for the first one, and that's going to just cost me 1. So I have 2 selections remaining. Now, one of the things I like to have, there's Battle Academy, which is experience growth rate is a lot faster. That helps your troops get experience. I could go with auxiliary force. That's going to cost me 1, and I'm going to pick that one because if I don't quite have enough men and materials, I'm going to want to add to them. And that auxiliary force gives me additional auxiliary slots in every battle equal to 50% of the available core slots that I have. I have 1 left, and as you notice, some of these cost 2, and I don't have them. I can go with Deadly Grasp, which means encircled units suffer 2 times penalties. You'll find out about that as I do it. You have Flexible Command, meaning splitting units doesn't consume unit slots. Yeah, I don't know about the value of that. Perimeter Control means a friendly unit in a hex cancels the enemy zone of control in that hex. That only costs 1. Operational Initiative means that all my units get +4, +3, and +3 and +2 initiative on the first 3 turns, and +1 on all subsequent turns. Now, initiative determines whether or not you get to shoot first in a combat scenario, that kind of thing. Or I can get deep recon, which means I get to see all my primary objectives. That's kind of cheap. That's like I don't know. That's like supernatural powers. Could I be a supernatural Panzer general? I don't know. Deadly Grasp, Flexible Command, these are all interesting. Perimeter Control, I'm going to go with the Operational Initiative, meaning I kick ass at the beginning of turn. So those are my 4 Panzer General traits that I've selected, and I'm going to click on Accept.
I salute your impeccable timing here,
Now
General.
briefing.
My telephone call with High Command just finished. Now that the invasion of Poland is imminent,
Mason
we need to discuss your role in Operation Fall Weiss. During these briefings, I will be your primary link to the directives coming from High Command. While my time on the battlefield may be long past, I can still offer you important insights alongside your orders. Now then, on to the business at hand.
Yes.
As you can see, we're deploying your new Panzer Corps to Jastrow to combine with elements of Kluge's 4th Army. Your immediate objective is to cut the Danzig corridor by advancing to the Vistula River. Our move to link Germany and East Prussia is an obvious one that our enemy will surely predict. But I expect the speed of your advance to take them by surprise, allowing you to intercept their forces before they reach more defensible positions.
That's right.
To fully take control of the corridor, these 2 major crossings of the Vistula must be occupied. If you seize the opportunity, crossing the Vistula here in a flanking maneuver could make taking your objectives much easier. Good luck on your first combat operation, Herr General. I would hate for it to be your last.
Should I fail, it will be my last. Now, I'm going to hit end briefing here, and my screen is going to pop up. I can review those objectives and things right here. It's only in text. It's too bad you can't get the whole thing to replay. I would really like it if you could get the entire briefing to replay. And you can't. And then I have this small mission overview here, which basically tells me everything I need to do, which is to capture all victory hexes. There are 3 of them. So my goal is to use my panzers to shoot across the Danzig corridor and reunite East Prussia with Poland. That's the idea. So we're going to start by looking at what forces I've been given for this mission. Okay, so I have a couple of artillery pieces. I have a 7.5 centimeter Flak 16. That is a fairly decent artillery gun, but it's kind of wimpy. I've also been given a 10.5 centimeter. Now this is really interesting because only these particular guns will give support fire against infantry, whereas the bigger guns give support fire against tanks. Now, there's one thing about this game that I don't like, and I'm going to tell you right away. Panzers against infantry, especially like cavalry in the open field, would slaughter, absolutely slaughter infantry. And they did that. And what I don't like is that you can overstrength. You notice some of my units, here's my basic foot infantry here, they have a value of 15. That is the strength of the unit. It's an overstrength. Whereas my panzers are only 10s. Well, I understand from game balance that that's really important. However, it's not very realistic. So even though these are have the panzers I've been assigned, they have no experience. You can see down here the experience stars are completely blank. I'm going to overstrength these units, and because it will more accurately reflect the panzer superiority against infantry. So I'm going to set any strength, and I'm going to set it to 15, which is the maximum that the panzer can actually have. And I'm going to copy that. And so I'm going to overstrength all of my panzers to 15 because, you know what, that's what they should really have if this is going to be a realistic scenario. So what I do is type the command down here, and then press send, and everything is overstrength. Now you're going to see me do stuff like this once in a while to balance the game out. All right, let's take a look at what I have. What I do not have, I don't believe, is a complete Panzer division or Panzer Corps here yet. They've given me a couple of Panzers. This is a Panzer 1B. This is a very weak, flimsy little tank. It was originally a training tank for the Germans, but it's armed only with 250 caliber machine guns. It's kind of a pussy tank, but it's pretty effective against infantry and cavalry, and so it should reflect that. It looks like I have 2 Panzer 1Bs and 2 Panzer 2Cs. Now the Panzer 2C is a little bit better. It's got better armor, it's a little faster, it's like an upgraded armored car, and it has a 20mm cannon to go with the 50 caliber machine gun, making it tougher against armored vehicles. So I'm fine with that compliment. I also have a scout car here, an SDKF Z222. It doesn't have a radio, but it's pretty well equipped. In terms of infantry, I have again some walking infantry here. Just basically standard Wehrmacht infantry, another standard Wehrmacht infantry here. He can walk, and you can see when I click on him how far he can actually journey, how far he can actually go. And then this is a Pioneer infantry. Pioneer units are specially designed to go against fortifications and specialized units of the enemy. They are kind of elite in that sense, and they're all backed here by some artillery. So here's what I'm going to do. In addition to that, I also have a Bf-109E. I have 2 of those, which are my fighter aircraft to wipe out the Polish Air Force, and I have a Ju-87B Stuka dive bomber, which is very effective against tanks and anything in the open it will wipe out. So this, as you may understand, as you may know, is not a complete Panzer Corps. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be upgrading my Panzer Corps as it goes along. Now for me, a Panzer division should consist of one fixed artillery piece, like one of these 2 guys here, 1 mobile artillery piece, which is self-propelled, a scout recon unit, a couple of light infantry units, a heavy infantry unit, and a light, a medium, and a heavy panzer, and an anti-tank, and an anti-aircraft. So what we're going to do is, even though I'm at 36 as my maximum total core slots, I'm going to open that up. I'm going to increase that to 50. So max core slots are going to become 50 before I even get started here. And actually, I would need a heavy bomber too, a strategic bomber. I don't think I'll be able to get all those units with just those 50 slots. And also, my prestige is my money. That's what I use here. I'm going to increase that also before I get started to, let's go with 5,000. That'll give me plenty of money to buy the units I need. So I have a few more unit slots. Now it's interesting, if you look at these different units, let's look at the Stuka for instance. I'll just click on the information button here, and you'll see that it takes up 3 slots. So out of the 36 slots I'm allotted, 3 of them go to my Ju-87B Stuka dive bomber. Probably my biggest unit in terms of slots is probably the Pioneer, because it has not only the value of the unit, it also has a truck. So the slots I'm using up are 4 with this. So before we get started, we're going to add to our complement we're going to go in and purchase some new equipment. Now, Brucken Pioneer or Bridge Engineers is something I want to add, but right now what we're going to do is we're going to add an anti-aircraft piece. Now, there are a couple options here, but the standard German anti-aircraft piece of the time was the 88mm, 88.8 cm, 88mm flak weapon, which can also be used as an anti-tank gun. And I'm going to add that to the basket. That's something I'm going to purchase. The other thing I said I wanted was I wanted an anti-tank gun. Now, the only available anti-tank gun at the beginning of the war is this pussy little 37mm Pak 36 anti-tank gun. The Germans thought it was going to be good enough for their campaigns in 1939 and 1940. It wasn't even close. It was good against armored cars and very light tanks, like my own Panzer 1Bs. Wasn't good against anything else. But to make it more realistic, we're gonna get that anti-tank gun, and we're gonna actually just use a wagon, a horse-drawn wagon, to buy that, to move that sucker around and use it. Also, we're okay on recon. We're going to add a few other things to this. Tactical bombers. I have a recon plane, which is an F-156 Storch. FI-156 Storch. I can also add a BF-110C. Now, what's a BF-110C? It's actually a Messerschmitt aircraft. It's a heavy fighter, is what it is. It's a fighter like the BF-109E, which is my only choice. So it was used basically to attack other aircraft, but it also could be used as a light bomber. So it'll give me a second unit, a second light bomber. I'm going to add that to the basket. Now, in terms of slots I may or may not have left, I have also want to add a heavy bomber or a strategic bomber. Now, these are interesting because they can only be used from full airfields. They can't be used on light airfields, basically dirt airfields. So I'm going to add what's the weakest of them all. The DO-17Z is the weakest because this is all, I'm kind of cheating here. I'm going to add that to the basket. So I have what now I would consider a complete Panzer Corps. All right, I have my anti-tank gun, which I'm going to use here. Assign him there. I have my anti-aircraft gun, which can also be used as an anti-tank gun. And I'm going to add my heavy fighter, light bomber, and my heavy strategic bomber, which can only be based at these serious heavy airfields. Now, another thing you might notice is this circular area here. These are supply hexes. That means if I buy new units or create new units or mobilize new units, they can be deployed here. Okay. These other hexes don't have that, so these are the only places that I can actually deploy new units. Okay, we're done. I'm not going to be able to use any of those new units on the first turn because they're brand new units. So we have to just deal with what we have to deal with. So first things first, let's get our infantry out here and let's march them forward. The thing is, we're just getting started here, so I'm going to force march them by picking this button right here, and I'm going to force march this sucker down towards this town here, which I believe is identified as Naklo. Now, guess what? We've reconned and discovered that there is a Polish armored car there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my armored car to go out in front of my marching infantry and line itself up against that armored car. So I have two choices. I have one Stuka available to me. I can use it on any of three targets. I can use it on this infantry in the open field, I can use it on this anti-tank gun in the open field, or I can use it on this armored car. Now, I'm going to choose to use it on the armored car for one reason and one reason alone, primarily because the armored car is a tougher opponent to knock out than any of the other two. I've got a Pioneer infantry here that will be able to go after that anti-tank gun pretty well. So I'm going to take my Stuka dive bomber and I'm going to hit it on that armored car and soften that target up a little bit. Prediction was -3, and I got exactly that. I knocked three of his guys were killed, so 1/3 of his strength almost. Now I'm going to use my armored car to follow that attack up, and it's going to be a split attack. I'm going to lose 3, he's going to lose 2. He, in fact, lost 2. I only lost 1, so I'm ahead of the game. So this armored car has taken a beating. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of my completely inexperienced BF-109Es to protect the Stuka dive bomber. because the fact is that the Stuka is vulnerable to enemy fighter aircraft, even wimp-ass Polish fighter aircraft. So I'm going to fly him out here, and he's going to do two things. Because he's adjacent to the Stuka, he's going to protect him from enemy fighter, and he's also going to provide air cover for my somewhat vulnerable armored car that I sent out here. Okay, the next aspect of this attack is going to be my Pioneer infantry, and I can march him here, or I can march him here, or I can march him straight ahead, or I can go to one of these other hexes, and they are hexes. I have the hexes turned off. And that little icon there means that I can drive there with my truck and get out and deploy at the same time. So what I'm going to do is actually move him down here where I don't have to do that, get set up to attack this anti-tank emplacement. I'm also going to move this piece of artillery forward, the 75 millimeter gun, and I'm going to hit it. Now, let me redo that. What that prediction means when I hover over this is that it's going to I'm going to lose 0 in the attack. The enemy is not going to lose any of its defenses or of its units, but it's going to hit -3 suppression. So every unit has a suppression rating, and if you can suppress a unit, you can basically make it more vulnerable to attack. It's like stunning the enemy. So this is only going to provide value in terms of stunning the enemy. I'm going to do it anyway, and that should weaken this to the point that my predictive attack is actually now stronger. And in fact, it's not against this enemy than it would otherwise be. Since I've already used my recon car here to do recon, I'm going to basically take this infantry unit and also move it forward. I'm going to start with the Pioneer attacking the tank emplacement, which is kind of unusual. And surprise, surprise, not only did it suppress it by 3, it also killed 3, which is a phenomenal thing. Well, that's another thing I forgot, is the Pioneer also, it automatically, those units convert suppression to kills. I completely forgot that. This is my regular infantry. It will not be able to do that. This one, I should suffer 1 suppression, but I will get 3 kills on that unit. So that unit strength has been knocked down between my artillery, my Pioneer unit, and my infantry unit. This anti-tank unit has been knocked down by half of its strength. It's been knocked down. All right. So again, I have this artillery piece. It's much more effective against infantry. It's going to knock out 1, so I'm going to hit that. See if I can knock out 1, and I do. Now again, this is infantry in the open field, so I should be able to. I still haven't moved this unit yet. I should be able to really beat the hell out of this guy, especially with my overstrength at 15. So I'm going to take my Panzer 1B, and I'm going to run him up here to the north of this Polish infantry unit, and then I'm going to turn and attack, expecting to knock out 50% of his remaining strength, -7, while losing only a little bit myself. Let's execute that command. And boom, yeah, I hurt them, and they were unable to hurt me. That's using my Panzer 1Bs because even though they're small tanks and very flimsy, they are effective against infantry as they should be. Now, I'm going to move my other Panzer 1B, and again, he has no combat experience. If you look at his combat experience rating over here in the lower left, he has none. And I'm going to attack this infantry unit from the south and see if I can knock him down, even though the prediction says, nope, you're still going to have 1 left. Okay, well, fair is fair. I only have the 1 left, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my back Panzer II, and I'm going to circle around, as a Panzer ought to be able to do, and finish off this Polish infantry. He's dead, and I also have something called overrun. Now what overrun means is that after I kill this guy, I should be able to then, if I had any movement points left, I'd be able to say move up here and execute a second attack, because I'm on a roll. I'm absolutely on a roll. Now, okay, I've got my other Panzer II. I could move up here. I hate it. I just have this thing where I hate the dead units lying on the ground. I absolutely hate them. I could move up and take the town of Chonish. I could take that with my Panzer II unit, or I could try to pin this Polish cavalry up here against the edge of the map. That is what I do. And I'm about 7 of his defenses. And I've got now 3 Panzers in a position, 1 Panzer 1B, 2 Panzer IIs to be able to take out these guys here. And I still have one piece of movement left, which is this BF-109E, which I will use to strafe and attack that particular anti-tank gun. Oh, I hit him and knocked out 2. And I've got, I've got a fighter jet pretty well in place for any countering Polish fighters that might come out and try to go after my forces. So the next thing I'm going to do is, I have this infantry piece, and I'm trying to decide where he would be best used. So I'm going to move him down here where he can actually fire on this armored car. The armored car could also sweep around and catch him in the vulnerables, but for the moment we're not going to worry about that. My other units are brand new. I just bought them, so I can't use them on this turn. So this turn is effectively over. Now, if this turn were not over, I could... Wow, I've got my little picture here. I can just hit the right bracket next unit, and I've got no other units to use, so I'm just going to go up here where the hourglass sign is, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to zero this map out so you can get a good overall picture. And I'm going to say, okay, Mr. Pole, it's your turn, Polish commander. Oh, he's got a... Does some damage. The armored car tried to take on my Pioneer and got its ass kicked. And the interesting thing here is that the armored car, he took a real beating and left himself very, very vulnerable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my armored car. Now, the cool thing about armored cars or recon units is that they can move more than once. They can use up all their movement points. I'm going to move this guy here, and then I can move him back behind the other armored car unit, and then I get this encircled warning. Well, what encircled means is you're in big trouble, because I've got you surrounded, and now you're very vulnerable, and I'm going to hit him and destroy him. So again, I have this undo command. I hate leaving the burning hulks on there, but I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to go and leave my armored car right here, just one movement point away from this objective. You can tell it's an objective because it's got this big halo around it of Bedogzogoids. Bedogzogoids is going to get its ass kicked. All right, I'm going to use this artillery piece that got bombed. It's going to be less effective than it was before it got bombed. I'm going to hit anti-tank piece, and not only did I get 2 suppression, I knocked out 1. I got 1 kill. So now I'm going to move him down where he's going to support my attack on Bedogzogoids there. And I have a few movement pieces left. I've got this infantry. I'm going to walk him up and attack this particular gun from the back, do a lot of damage, and then I'm going to move my Pioneer infantry up to take the town what is the name of the town? And notice again I have the option there. It says not only do you get to go move, but you actually can undeploy. That's town Chonich, and I now have captured my first town. So I'm going to move this artillery piece up behind it to reinforce, and I've got my other infantry unit here, which I'm going to actually force march to be in position to take on the Bedogzogoids. Okay, now I've got to deal with this bitch right here, which is this Polish bomber that came out and thought he was a tough guy. And 2 of the ways I could deal with this is, number 1, I'm going to move my anti-aircraft gun from my AU-8s and I'm going to fire on him, and the prediction is it should knock out. I did that. Now, in order to gain some experience, I'm going to use my BF-109E, attack that. And I'm going to use I could use my other one to finish him off, but then there will be nobody to cover for my Stuka. So what I'm going to do instead is try to use the BF-109E. Remember, that's the heavy fighter light bomber combo aircraft that I just created. And I'm going to see if I can shoot down this Polish. I destroyed him. Good for me. Alright, that leaves my Stuka free to attack, and I'm going to attack this cavalry. Notice those other Polish infantry guys, they did the pole thing, and they bombed out. So I'm going to bomb that sucker. I knocked him down by a number of units, and now I'm going to use this BF-109 Messerschmitt to protect that unit, and I'm going to try to finish off this cavalry unit with my Panzer 1B. I'm going to move it as far forward as I can. Cavalry unit, and I get overrun. See that? I get overrun, which means I can then use my remaining movement points to press the attack. Now, where do I go? Do I go here? Or do I go here? Well, I'm going to go here because it gives me an opportunity for a second attack, but ooh, whoops. If I attack this infantry unit, I'm going to lose 8 of my 15, and I'm going to only kill 3 of those guys. Interesting choice here. So I'm going to see, well, let's see what I can do with my Panzer II. If I move my Panzer II forward, oh, the same thing. 8 versus 4, and my other Panzer II. I got better odds there. 8 versus 5, but still not good. Now I move up here, and my Panzer I, because he's encircled, has a 7-5. I also get a mass attack bonus for these units. So they're all now up to 7-5, so I'm going to hit them with that. I'm going to take a big loss, but I'm also going to inflict a lot of damage. That attack. And then my Panzer II should knock him completely out, which he does. Good stuff, that. All right, I'm going to move my anti-tank gun forward using my horse and buggy. Get him in a position, because very soon now, I suspect I am going to have to deal with Polish tanks. Okay, so I've got one unit left, my strategic bomber, and what I'm going to do is move him off of his base and over here to attack the anti-tank gun that is or is that an artillery piece? It's an anti-tank gun guarding the town of Bugzug. Now, it's expected by the prediction I'm only going to suppress 2. I'm not going to knock anything out. Let's give it a shot. I knocked him out. He lost 1 ammo. Basically, I hit him fairly hard and softened him up from the attack. Okay, let's move forward now. And do we have any units left? All I've got left is some movement from my armored car, which I'm not going to use on this turn. And I'm going to say, all right, Mr. Polish General, hit me back. All right. Poles didn't do anything, so it's back to Erwin von Butcherstein to get another attempt here. What I'm going to try to do now is see if I can get my Stuka to attack. Yes, my Stuka will attack. Make it all the way out here to hit this anti-tank gun. Out. I'm going to hit him with my artillery, which is going to suppress him. I'm then going to hit him with my infantry. Marching infantry. Tank gun. And my other infantry is going to step up and knock him out. Now, this is where having a recon unit comes in really handy, because what I'm going to do now is use his multiple movement capabilities to not only take Chatovici, I'm going to take the airfield just outside of it. And I could even cross the bridge if I wanted to, but I don't want to. What I'm going to do then is come back and use my third bit of movement and the tank gun and try to wipe him out. I'm going to move my artillery piece up here, and I'm going to move my anti-tank gun forward. All right. At this point, I could use a little scouting, so I'm going to send this Panzer I forward kind of as a scout unit. I'm not going to find anything. This one needs reinforcements, so I'm going to reinforce him. My Panzer IIs, I'm going to flank south. Ooh, look, I found an enemy. Attack that infantry, and again, that's 7-1. That's pretty much what you should get for a Panzer versus infantry in the open. And I'm going to attack him with my other Panzer. Nearly knocked him out. I've got my anti-tank gun coming up, and I'm going to move my artillery units over here along with my air infantry. infantry, but I spotted my first Polish tank. Now, what I'm going to have to do to be able to hit that tank is I'm going to have to rebase my Stuka here and then attack him on the next turn, but I can also hit him with my BF-110C. However, I'm on the brink of annihilating this Polish infantry. Do I do that? No, you know what? I'm going to hit him up so he's less effective. Alright, what I am going to do is I'm going to rebase my strategic bomber to my new airbase that I've captured outside of Bugdaga. And I'm going to move my fighters also to that base. Now, if I could get my anti-tank, my anti-aircraft gun up fast enough, I can use it against that. I don't think he's going to be fast enough. So, alright, that completes this particular turn. So I'm going to say, okay, let's finish off here. Alright, the Poles got aggressive, came out and attacked my Panzer II, knocked out half of his strength. They attacked my Panzer I, didn't do much damage, took a big hit with that cavalry, and then this Polish attacks my Panzer I, does some damage, and this Polish attack my Pioneer unit. Alright, looks like I'm going to have to consolidate some strength here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 88 anti-aircraft, and I'm going to convert it to anti-tank mode, and it says that I can put it up here and have it be deployed and in attack mode, and then I'm going to actually move my artillery piece back to hopefully defend it. Let's do that. And I'm going to use my other Panzer I to attack this infantry from the north. Again, I've got the encirclement advantage. Hit that. He's probably going to retreat, but I can still hit him with my other Panzer I. I'm going to move back here where I've got some protection from the artillery piece. Now, my Stuka can reach any number of these targets. I'm going to have it hit that. This Polish tank is a TKS, which is kind of a wuss-ass tank. But I've got to get this sucker out of here. I got to get this guy out of here. He's in trouble. The strength is down to 5. I've got to reinforce him. If I attack, I can't attack him and move back. I'm going to do that. I'm going to just hit this Polish infantry and then move back in the artillery. And the same thing with this particular Panzer II unit, 6 Panzer II-C. I'm going to move him back, and I'm going to move my infantry back out of the way. I'm going to move my anti-tank gun, 37mm, forward. Okay. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my BF-110C, which can attack any of these units, and I'm going to use it to weaken that Polish infantry unit, which is a threat to my anti-tank gun, especially if this guy doesn't fire in defense. Now, what other things do I have going here? Well, I've got a couple of infantry units, marching infantry here, which I could use to attack the other cities, or I can use my recon unit to cross the river here, get in behind Polish defenses, and because it's a recon unit, I can strengthen it, I can reinforce it. I'm going to use my artillery here, move him up, and I'm going to move up my infantry. Now, I'm taking a risk that this guy will come out of his secure base and attack my artillery, but it seems unlikely. What I'm going to do is try to talk him out of that by hitting him with a heavy strategic and stunning him if I can. Looks like I stunned him a little bit. Still got 2 attacks here available from my BF-109Es. I'm going to attack this artillery piece. I should be able to kill 2. I only killed 1, and I'm going to use the other one to protect my Stuka in case there are any hidden Polish aircraft up here at this airbase. So make sure my Stuka gets protected. You notice also that even though I overstrength these units to 15 before the game started, that I can only reinforce them to 10 because they're not officially given that strength yet. Okay, that's going to mark the end of turn number 4 for me. I'm going to say, all right, let's see what the Poles do. Well, they're going to fire on my armored car. They're going to attack my 88 as I expected, and I hit him with some artillery to suppress them. I get the first shot, and he hurts me a little bit. Dang, he used his tank to come in and attack my artillery piece, and I moved him back, and he attacked me. Alright. He's left this tank out, vulnerable to my 88. I can just move him over one slot, so I'm going to move him over, and I am going to take out that big massive 88. And then I'm going to use this artillery piece to soften up that Polish infantry, and I'm going to use my Panzer II to pretty much knock him out, and then I'm going to drive to the river. So I've now cut them off, all right? Unfortunately, I don't have a lot left in terms of strength of my Panzers, but I'm going to come in here and hit this Polish infantry unit with my Panzer I because he's now in strength. That's worked pretty well. And I'm going to go up here to the north of this airfield. No, there are no Polish aircraft there at that airfield. So Polish Air Force has been destroyed in this turn. All right. I got to reinforce these Panzers. This is my Panzer I. I'm going to reinforce that. And I also have choices of green units or experience units. I'm going to pick elite replaced experience units. And I'm also going to reinforce my pioneer units because they're very valuable. All right, what does this leave me with? Well, this leaves me with a Stuka back here, which hasn't been used. I'm going to move him forward to this forward air base. I can get up to 4 or 5 units there. I'm going to use the strategic heavy bomber to stun this guy around the town of Chelimo. What do I do with this artillery piece? Well, I think I'm going to fire on this tank and then step back. And then I'm going to use this infantry to try to finish the tank off. That didn't work. Let's see what happens when I use my armored car against him. Well, that worked. He goes there. I'm going to move the infantry up here to protect. And then I'm going to use my 2 fighters to attack the artillery piece and weaken that. To attack this vulnerable tank center. Okay, the only other thing I've got is I've got my heavy fighter. I'm going to see, can I move him forward to this airbase? Yes, there's a sort of space there. I shall do so. Okay, I think that is all the movement I have available to me. Oh no, I can still move my artillery, so I'm going to move it forward. Get ready to hit this objective up here, Teswix. Alright, so we're doing very well so far. Hey, 5 turns into it. That might be 5 turns. Polish attack. That was it. That's all he did. Okay, so now I have some interesting choices here. I could take my Panzer I, and I could take this airfield, but it's going to be very vulnerable. There are no tanks really left to speak of, so I'm just going to reinforce my 88. My anti-tank gun, I'm going to move over here and try to cut this road and escape off. Now, first things first, I think we're going to go after this objective first. If I move my Panzer I there without reinforcing him, it's going to be tough against that infantry. So I'm going to try to weaken the infantry. By hitting him from pretty much all sides on the next turn, and I'm going to use my strategic bomber to soften up that target along with my artillery. This particular piece, this particular Panzer II, going to use him also. Yeah, I'm going to move him up over here as well. Okay, so this leaves me with quite a bit of stuff left to use. I've got my Stuka. I'm going to try to bomb this tank out of existence. And I'd like to use my anti-tank on him, but there's no way to get it across the river unless I go all the way around this way. And I'm going to use my BF-110C fighter bomber to hit the artillery piece. I'm going to reinforce this artillery piece. And I'm going to reinforce my armored car. And then I'm going to move my infantry around to see if I can knock out that Polish infantry. And then I'm going to position my other infantry to get ready. And I'm going to use my BF-109 to that anti-tank gun on the bridge. And I'm just going to use this BF-109 to suppress it. But no, had no effect whatsoever. Okay. So I'm pretty close to obtaining my goals here. My 3 objectives are within reach. I wish I had a little more infantry up here north to take Tiswitz, but we're in a pretty good position here. So we're just going to end this turn and say, do what you will, mount poles. Okay, that's it. They attacked my anti-tank gun. I think I'll attack theirs back just to gain a little experience. Maybe I'll move my 88 over there. And I'm going to put my Pioneer unit up against the Polish forces, which are entrenched, Polish engineers, in the town of Tekswets. If you look at them, they're pretty well entrenched. They're 7 out of 10 entrenchment. I've got to try to soften that up with some artillery assault, which I'm going to do. That guy there, and then I'm going to use my heavy bomber, which is a weak-ass heavy bomber, to suppress him a little bit more. And I'm going to put my Panzer I in at the airport, which not only finishes off Polish Air Force, it should create, basically, an encirclement. Okay, so I'm going to use the Pioneer to attack. It's going to be I'm going to lose 2, he's going to lose 3. The important thing is to weaken him, not necessarily to knock him out. Now I'm going to use my Panzer II, and I should lose 4. He should lose 6 in terms of kills. I did that. Guess what? He retreated. Now I'm going to use my Panzer I. Actually, I'm going to wait on that. I'm going to use this Panzer I to attack that unit. Almost completely out. He lost 5. I'm going to use this Panzer I that infantry trying to retreat. He was not able to escape. I'm going to take this bridge, which is an objective, and I'm going to take this victory hex. Okay, cool. So one of my 3 victory hexes has been taken. If you look at my objectives, I've captured 1 of 3 victory hexes, so I'm doing good. All right, what next? Now I've got to take out these remaining Polish forces and conquer their towns. I'm going to use my Stuka on this. That really hadn't hurt. And I'm going to use my light fighter bomber. And my other BF-109 just to some scraping. Alright. I'm going to soften this guy up. I'm going to move my artillery in. Hit that infantry. Move these guys in. Let's get ready for the attack on the next turn. And completely surround them. Okay. That's it. I'm set up. I'm only in turn 7. I've still got more to go. Okay, so he's going to attack my armored car. His infantry and his anti-tank. Did some damage, but not a lot. I'm going to use my heavy bomber to soften up the 9th Polish and I knocked one of them out, so that's good. I'm going to use my Stuka to attack. I knocked it completely out. I'm going to reinforce my armored car. I'm going to use my artillery to hit him. I'm going to bring my other artillery piece down closer, and my anti-tank gun in front of it. Give him a little experience. Attack. He's going to lose 3-1, but he only lost 2-1. And now I'm going to attack this other unit And guess what? He surrendered. I take the town. Alright. Get closer. And I'm going to use my light heavy just to do some strafing. Just to get some experience. Okay, that's the end of that turn. We're getting closer. I'm going to go up here. And I'm going to reinforce these other units as best I can. Those are all full strength. And I'm gonna... Alright, so they're going to start by counterattacking my infantry. I'm going to work on suppressing them with my strategic heavy bomber. Should knock down one on suppression. I'm going to move this artillery piece over, the 10.5 centimeter. I'm going to bomb him, use the artillery on him, and try to soften him up. And I'm going to move this infantry over here, and this infantry over here. So I've effectively got him in support. Okay, he's not going to fall this turn, but he's going to fall the next turn. So I'm just going to let it go. Let him counterattack it, weaken him further. I'm going to hit him with my strategic bomber. My artillery. And I'm going to hit him with my big infantry. Forces his retreat. I'm going to knock him out with a little more experience. And then I'm just going to take the town. And that's it. Victory. I have won. Alright. General Erwin von Wittgenstein has won his first campaign and reunited East Prussia across the Danzig corridor. I'm going to hit continue, and it will load up my next game and give me my next briefing, at which point I'm then going to stop this recording. Little tip down there, recon standing next to an enemy unit improves the accuracy of all their friendly units attacking that enemy. So if you can get a recon in there, it improves their accuracy. It's going to load the next scenario. I'm going to receive my briefing for the next mission, and then I'm going to pause this video for the next mission.
Alles klar, Herr General. I've got good news for you.
Good.
Your successes in the Danzig corridor, coupled with von Rundstedt's advances south of you, have virtually encircled the Polish capital of Warsaw. In order to prevent our enemy from establishing a second line, I'm ordering you deep into the Polish interior.
Now, southern stuff hasn't taken place yet. That's going to be my brother, Fader.
Your ultimate objective lies all the way in distant Vlodova, here on the Bug River. Along the way, our friends in the Luftwaffe have requested you to pacify the eastern outskirts of Warsaw. This airfield here houses the last vestiges of the Polish Air Force, and clearing them out will grant us complete dominance of the skies. Forward elements of 10th Army have secured Puławy here, but they lack the resources to advance on their own. I suggest reinforcing them if necessary. We don't want the Poles to retake the airfield we're currently holding on to.
That's right.
Good luck, Herr General.
Thank you. All right, that's going to be the end of this video. I'm going to be posting a video of this next mission, along with actually my first mission in the south of Poland, which is going to be for my twin brother, Fedor von Butcherstein, who's going to slog his way through the south part of Poland. All right, that's going to be it. Thank you for being here. And let me see if I can figure out a way to end this video. Can I end this video? Can I? In-game overlay. There we are.